All right, so we got a ton of Marvel updates. A whole bunch of people, man. We had a drop from Production Weekly. There's actually several things we have to get into with that. Daniel RPK was dropping some stuff. A lot of stuff to get into with that. Alex P kind of chiming in a little bit too. Jeff Snyder. So we've had like several big insiders and scoopers dropping all sorts of information when it comes to what Marvel is doing. Now, I probably don't have to tell you guys this, but I will. Marvel in a shaky spot, not on the most secure of grounds. A lot of fans questioning what will actually be happening with Marvel. Are they going to be able to turn this stuff around? Are they spending $1 bajillion on Captain America 4 and it's still just not going to be good?
What did he say?
These are the questions that we have. So let's get into this and let's begin with the Production Weekly updates, okay? This is pretty interesting stuff. And just so you know, too, Production Weekly, very reliable, comes from sort of the industry people that are in the industry, very, very reliable. Not to say this is all ironclad information and this is the way it is, but it's a very good source. So we're going to talk about it, okay? So first up, they say, Avengers 5 is set to begin filming in Q1 2025 in the UK under the working title Apple Pie 1. First question for chat. What do you think Avengers 6 is going to be called? It's a softball. Just wake up. What? Come on. What do you think Avengers 6 is going to be called? Anybody? Bueller? Anybody? Cherry Pie 69. 100%. 10 points to Gryffindor. Number one, important to remark that it is called Avengers 5 still. Some people still report on this thing as though it is called the Kang Dynasty. A lot of evidence that it is not the Kang Dynasty, bro. So it's not the Kang Dynasty. Interesting that it's shooting in Q1 2025. If you've been following along closely, you'll know that Daniel had reported earlier that this movie was supposed to film this year. It got pushed into next year. This is because of changes being made to Apple Pie 1 and to Cherry Pie 69 because they're reconceptualizing how these movies are going together. I think a lot more Secret Wars stuff coming into Avengers 5. The fact that they're calling it Apple Pie 1 implies that there's an Apple Pie 2, right? So we more or less know that this is Secret Wars Part 1 and Secret Wars Part 2. I personally still believe that a lot of what was going to be in the Kang Dynasty is now going to be in Shang-Chi 2, okay? Shang-Chi 2 has Destin Daniel Cretton as the director. He was going to be the director of the Kang Dynasty. That's not happening anymore. So we don't know that for sure, but that's just kind of where I'm at with it. I think that is the thing that's going to happen, okay? Next up, and this is kind of interesting, Armor Wars begins filming in 2025 in the UK. Interesting. Dominic Thorne and Walter Goggins are not included in the listing, even though they had been included before. Now, let's stop and talk about that for a second. I guess pour one out for Dominic Thorne and Walter Goggins. Now, to me, I think this means potentially going away from some Kang connection stuff because I believe Dominic Thorne was originally going to have a strong connection to the Kang character. And so I'm actually super happy to see her removed from this movie. Not because I have anything personally against her, but because what I heard was so stupid. I was like, please, for the love of Jeebus, do not do that. And so I'm taking that as a good sign that she's not in there. And maybe they're just going away from that character in general because who cares? Walter Goggins, that's kind of a shame. He's blowing up right now. Fallout, he absolutely crushed it in Fallout. He's cool, but also could potentially hint to them taking it in a very, very different direction. I don't know what to expect for this movie now because Rhodey was a Skrull for so long. Another, what I consider to be pretty stupid, foolish thing that Marvel Studios has done. A lot of that going around lately. But we'll see how they take actual Rhodey and have him sort of cope with everything that has happened, everything that he has missed out on. And we'll see how this is all going to fit together. Now, there's a lot of speculation that Tony Stark, RDJ, will be back for this movie in some way, shape, or form. I believe that. I think it's going to happen. I think you're going to get a lot of RDJ in the next 5 to 6 years. Some of you don't like it, but, you gotta eat your meat if you want to have your pudding. Okay, Shang-Chi 2 starts filming March 2025 in the UK. Interesting that it's shooting in the UK. We didn't talk about this, but this came out, I think, last week, maybe the week before. Marvel Studios has signed a big deal. They're going to be filming a lot more of their stuff in the UK as opposed to Atlanta. This is kind of a long time coming. There's a lot of reasons why. Moving on. X-Men begins filming in Q4 2025 in the UK again. You're starting to see the pattern here, okay? Now, this one's kind of interesting. Charles Xavier's team of Merry Mutants is charged with the mission of protecting a world that hates and fears them for their unusual appearances and abilities. So what does that mean? That's kind of wild. It would imply to me, and I wonder what you guys think, chat. This implies to me they're going in a traditional way with the X-Men. And maybe it took some non-traditional failures over the past couple of years to get Marvel to understand this. Perhaps X-Men 97 is also a part of how they figured it out, because X-Men 97 is dope. Like, Variety just said it's probably going to win an Emmy. I think it should win all the Emmys, and they should make a new category for new show that is somehow better than Invincible. And I think it's got that Emmy locked up as well. You know, you could read very far into this and say, oh shit, like, we're getting traditional X-Men, let's go. I'm excited about that. You could also just say, I mean, what other log line? Like, Charles Xavier hates his team. They're not merry. They're Inhumans now, and they hate and fear a world that loves them for their unusual appearance. You see what I mean? So it's like, I'm choosing to believe this means probably traditional X-Men stuff. We'll wait and see. I'm not really sure, but it seems cool. Now, Vision Quest begins filming in Q4 2024 in the UK. Elizabeth Olsen is listed in the cast. So once again, UK. Elizabeth Olsen. Man, this is kind of fun. Throw a 1 into the chat if you care about Vision Quest. It's cool if you do. It's all good if you do. I don't care about Vision Quest in any way, shape, or form. I'm super frustrated that there's a whole corner of the MCU, which appears to be spin-offs of spin-offs of spin-offs. I really, 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 really don't care. However, Feige, you got me again, man. You got me again, you old sly motherfucker, because I love Elizabeth Olsen. Very special place in my heart. I love Elizabeth Olsen. Love Wanda. Love the Scarlet Witch. So, yeah, they probably got me on that one. That's a good move. Spider-Man 4 starts filming late September 2024 in the UK again. Release date is listed as July 10th, 2026. McKenna and Somers returning as writers. Okay, now there's more stuff to talk about with regards to Spider-Man 4, and we'll just kind of move right into the next part because Daniel RPK also chimed in on some of this stuff, so we will talk about that now. Okay, so first up, he says Avengers 5 is filming next year in the UK, and it will keep its release date May 1st, 2026. That's good news, man. Norrin Rad will appear in the Fantastic Four. Now, this one is super triggering for me. I'm super upset about this one. And you might be like, but wait, why, Josh? I thought all you wanted in life was Norrin Rad in the Fantastic Four. I thought the whole reason you were so butthurt is because you wanted Norrin Rad in the Fantastic Four, okay? Wait, Resident Justice says, Daniel RPK said that the Norrin Rad thing isn't true and that he never said that. What part? This one or the other one? Because him being in the movie is a good thing. What he said afterwards, not a good thing. So what are you guys talking about? What did he badunk? Okay, so let me just tell you what I saw. We'll take this with a grain of salt. And by the way, I hope this is wrong. I hope this is wrong, okay? What I heard was that it's not going to be Norrin Rad is the Silver Surfer, and he's going to be hanging out with Shalabal, Silver Surfer. He said that Norrin Rad is going to stay on the planet and Shalabal will be the one to make the sacrifice, okay? And that is beyond triggering for me. And part of me thinks maybe it's not true because Daniel just likes to troll. Like, I'm pretty sure he's like a hater, you know, kind of like a chronically online hater. And so part of this could be him literally just trying to trigger me. And I gotta say, good on you. Bob's your uncle. Fantastic job, because I am furious about this. It's one thing to do shallow bow. It's one thing to do a female server, which, by the way, both of those things suck. Both of those things suck. But on top of that, if you're literally going to have the character that I love, Norrin Rad, in the Fantastic Four, and he's not the one to make the sacrifice, he's not the one, then you're literally taking his arc and just giving it to shallow bow. That is bullshit, okay? So I'm trying to be chill because we don't know what it actually will look like. I don't necessarily trust Daniel, but if this is true, like this is one of those situations where everything gets all funky, right? Because I like Marvel. I'm actually trying to ride with Marvel, right? I don't know. Did you guys notice? I really like Marvel. You know, I really like Marvel. I'm really trying to ride with them and talk about how it could turn around. Marvel could be making good decisions and stuff like that. I got to tell you, if this is real and there's no explanation for it, and they're just like, yeah, we thought we'd up this fan favorite version of the Silver Surfer that's the most commonly known version and just give it to his girlfriend. I don't know, man. I just got to tell you, I will probably not have a super mature, healthy reaction to that because that's the worst possible scenario. It's called a multiverse. It's called a multi-bullshit. Like, yo, here's an interesting thought for you, Funky Foo. If there's a multiverse out there and we've got multiverses like this or universes like this, then they suck and they should be destroyed. I'm Team Kang. I'm Team King Thanos. I'm Team Beyonder. I don't give a shit. That. Destroy it. Burn it to the ground. Destroy it. Thanos was right. I gotta tell you, man.
I'm feeling kind of caged in right now. I'm trying to be chill. My God, Ringo, I'm trying to be the shepherd.
Holy Okay, anyways, moving on. We'll see how that goes. Blade will now take place in the present day and will tie into Midnight Suns. Oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. Mia Goth is still set to play Lilith and will be the main villain. Filming will begin in the UK later this year. Okay, so there's actually some other updates about Blade. We're going to talk about Blade in just a little bit here, okay? That's kind of interesting. Seems they're moving ahead with Blade. Spoiler alert for something that Snyder said. It seems like they finally just made it Blade vs. Vampires. And again, really? So no more time bullshit. No more my daughter's blood. Let's set 13 strong female characters in this movie. No more of that bullshit. You're going to put a katana in his hand and have him cut up vampire? Great idea. What a concept. Anyway, so that's good. Viv and Vin Vision will appear in Vision Quest. Okay, now, couple of things. Couple of things. Okay, before we get into Snyder and his comments, you're getting a lot of like insiders kind of chiming in about this shit. And, you know, Alex Perez has been teasing some kind of connection between Mephisto and Lilith. I mean, that sounds cool. Kind of claiming that Lilith commands an army of vampires. That's dope. Again, vampires and Blade. Who would have thought? What a concept. Now, let's pull up what Jeff Snyder is saying about all of this. Okay, number of different things here coming from Jeff. First up, he says hasn't heard anything regarding Fantastic Four having two Silver Surfers. That kind of implies that this bullshit we're hearing about with Shallow Bow and Norrin Rad could be true. My God, don't do it. Next up, Jeff said his sources said bet against Sam Raimi possibly directing MCU Spider-Man 4. That's kind of interesting. I wonder where that story comes from, why it picked up steam. But yeah, that's kind of wild. You know, maybe he will be the guy that's going to end up doing Avengers 6. Who knows? Jeff says the early word for Deadpool and Wolverine is really good. While Captain America Brave New Order World Time Travel nonsense hasn't been as kind. Okay, so let's stop for a second here on that one. Deadpool Wolverine is really good. Has anybody surprised about that? I'm not surprised about that. Are you surprised about that? I'm not surprised about that. Captain America Brave New World, people haven't been as kind. That kind of sucks to hear. Because they're spending oodles of money on this thing. Obviously not on the wig for Harrison Ford, but they are spending a lot of money on it, and they're gassing it up, man, comparing it to the Winter Soldier. You know, I said when that stuff sort of first broke, like, you can't just say that. Because if you keep doing that, like if Marvel keeps doing that and they keep just like comparing it to the old shit and just say, it's like the boy that cried wolf. I would really recommend not saying that unless you can live up to that movie. So I don't know. I mean, who knows too? This is all just kind of hearsay until we get a little bit closer. But dude, imagine they keep delaying Cap 4. They're spending so much money on it, and it ends up being mid. Oh my God. Like you Marvel. Okay, Blade is going to start shooting in Mexico this summer, and it has been stripped down to just Mahershala Ali killing vampires. Again, how is it possible it took us so long to get to Blade fighting vampires? Who are these people you're hiring? So take it all with a grain of salt. Some of this I like. I mean, I like the fact that Secret Wars seems to be on track, or at least Avengers 5 seems to be on track to hit on that May 1st date in 2026. I think that's dope. Blade finally fighting vampires. I think it's dope. It's crazy it took so long to get here, but connecting it to Lilith, Mephisto, Midnight Suns, that's all brilliant. That's all really good ideas. Bringing Scarlet Witch back, that's a good idea. So yeah, the traditional X-Men thing, that is a good idea. That makes me feel good as a fan. So kind of a mixed bag here, but yeah, those are your updates. As far as a ton of different reports, scoops, and insights for Marvel Studios and what they're doing. What do you think, chat? Let me know. What are your thoughts?